What happened with America? Never went anywhere?
Well, that was his last attempt to make a big epic film. And I think the story was weak. It was his own story, along with Robert Chambers. And some nice moments in it, but I think it had the same mistakes that Babylon had. He was so stuck with the historical thing, he didn't tell a good story. And then it starts out dealing with America, but if you've seen the original print of it, or as close to the original print as we can get, there's an image, and then there's a long title, then there's an image, and then there's a long title, and then there's a house of birds, there's a long title. And when Paul Killian released it, he read the titles in the background to shorten the film up a bit. But when you see it with the original title, my God, it goes on and on.
Sort of at the museum like that.
Yeah, pretty dreadful.
How many
but beautiful, some lovely moments in it.
Extras in America, extras in Intolerance, a lot more than Birth, I would think.
Yeah, well, a lot of the extras he got from he managed to talk the U.S. Army into putting on costumes and playing. So a lot of that. America, although it was a big, big film, did not cost any more money than the film he made with 4 people.
It was all given to him.
Yeah, right. And he learned finally to not waste as much. But he said to the press, if this doesn't work, I'm washed up. And he was right, and it didn't work, and he was washed up. That hurt. Had some good moments in it, but I don't know.
How should Griffith be remembered?
Well, certainly not as a one-film man, The Birth of a Nation, and therefore a monster. That is the most stupid, and it's really evil. It's more evil even than racism somehow to take such an approach by so-called good people are really doing bad things in the name of virtue, but bad. It's not fair or anything like that. They should be embarrassed by such a view. I think in some ways he was certainly great as somebody who dedicated himself most of his life to the movies. I think tried to do well. I think in some ways was his own worst enemy. And I think really didn't keep up. In some ways, his films still look like 1909, 1910 in the 20s. I mean, these hacks who did successfully learned the kind of craftsmanship that Griffith never had. Griffith never minded, that a shot wouldn't blend.
He took the wheel, showed you how to use it, but didn't take it further than that for development of vehicles.
Well, that's an idea. That's a good idea. What you have is, I think he designed a great motor and a great everything else, but the styling of the car was old-fashioned. Look at Ford. I mean, he made the same Model T. I mean, it was a wonderful car, but it still looked ancient. In 1927, it looked terrible till he started with the Model A. Finally, had to realize that people just did not want something that was practical. They wanted something that looked pretty. Yeah. And which is why every year we have an automobile, they change the styling every year. So you should feel terrible because your film doesn't have a different taillight on it. It's the same damn thing underneath it. But they make you feel bad and your thing is blinking there. Does that mean running out of something?
Yeah, I have to change it too. Henry Walthall, good actor?
Good actor with Griffith, usually. Bad actor with other people, often. In the silent period, I saw the film with The Raven, called The Raven with him. Pretty bad. Again, almost, one long shot, allowing you to overact. So Griffith did tone him down. I think when he's good, he's very, very, very good. It's a perfect performance at Birth. I don't see one excessive gesture there at all. Do you? absolutely perfect performance. I think Mae Marsh is maybe a bit too much like that, jumping around in the beginning, but she's kind of lovable in her own way.
It's outdated today, the movie.
It's what?
Is the movie outdated today?
I don't know. Is Mozart outdated because he's got a crappy little orchestra? I don't know. How do you do that? I mean, it's not Richard Strauss's orchestra. It's not Wagner. But I don't know. I don't. It's hard. I don't know. Is Hawthorne outdated? Is earlier writing outdated? It's a different style.
You have to know the era to appreciate him.
I think you have to know the era of anything to appreciate it, frankly. Because there are conventions in every time. Read Henry James or read anybody writing in the 19th century. It's a whole different world out there. Whole different world towards relationships, towards sexuality. I mean, we're completely different now. I mean, you had to be chaperoned. I mean, all these crazy things today. Look at, even in the 30s movies, God forbid you should have to stay in the same room with another woman. They immediately, the evil minds have you immediately doing all kinds of orgies 2 seconds after you close the door. It might not be. Or you have to, if you did stay over, you had to sleep in the bathtub, and she's got the door barricaded. Well, today, I mean, it is possible to have a girl over and she could sleep on the couch. But you don't make a big deal out of it. So, I mean, a lot of single mother is nothing today. People say, yeah, I'm a single mother. No problem. You know, try that in 1920. Try that in 1920. You'd be ostracized. If you were in a small town, you'd be ostracized. And even in the big town, they wouldn't take it. You'd have to say, you know, my husband died, even though you never had one. You don't have people say, and what is it today? What, 1/3 of the births in America are illegitimate now? 1/3. That was not the case then. If you did get pregnant out of marriage or something like that, you went away.